Hey everyone, I'm Tiffany Harlick, and my friend Maggie Winokur is with us. We are talking about color and psychic development and spiritual development. And Maggie, this is her background, and she has studied with me, with Lisa Williams. We're master teachers together. And so we spent a whole year studying together, and we spent a whole month living together, and we got to know each other. And so I just adore working with Maggie with color. Not only has she studied, like she has a mentorship with Colin Bates, she has studied over in Europe, she has studied at some of the highest places. So I really respect her education and her readings, and I really trust her so much that I have asked her to come teach our group her way of color. If you start to study color, there's certain ways that people interpret it, and then people will say, oh, it's whatever it means to you. And then there's also people that are like the old timey spiritualists that will say, no, 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 it's this other way. And so Maggie has studied all of the ways and is going to give you her perspective, and then you can take what resonates and work with it and practice it. Let me also just say before I turn it over to Maggie that color is a language, just like astrology is a language. Everybody can access information through color. And color is so cool because you can taste it, you can smell it, you can see it, you can hear it, you can experience it viscerally through all of your senses. And that's what Maggie is so good at, what she's taught me over the last couple of years. So, color can, like I said, it can be accessed through all the senses. What do I mean by that? You can taste the citrus of an orange and get information. You can feel a vintage blue velvet and get information. You can smell the earthy brown coffee grounds and access a memory, right? So this idea that color is just a language of spirit, it's so cool because anybody can access this. And Maggie's going to tell a story about it for those of you who can't see color. So she'll throw that in there. But she's going to talk about her background with using color, and she's going to lead us into a meditation where everybody will get to experience playing with visualizing color. She's going to go through the universal color meanings, and then she's going to share with us how to do a reading. So you are in for a treat with my sweet friend,
Oh,
and Maggie. So thank you for coming back.
thank you so much, Tiffany. That was a beautiful introduction. It would just like be perfect not to say anything else so I don't blow it.
No.
But thank you so much for that beautiful introduction. I'm so glad we're talking about color today. Color is one of my favorite things to work with. Um, as Tiffany said, I'm a psychic medium and I work with energy healing, but I've always worked with color. I have a background in interior design, and I also have done art for a very, very long time. And I was in the beauty and wellness industry. And color, I mean, even when I was a kid, I would paint my room all of these different colors by myself, like at 7 years old, because my mood would change. And so it's just kind of natural that I've ended up using spirit to work with colors to access different readings. I have several different types of readings I do with color, but it's really a fantastic jumping off point for any reading to use. Spirit can use just a little bit of information when they work with color, and how I use it in the reading is it's really through the power of intention,
Mhm.
and I connect with spirit and I ask them to use the color. And when I'm starting to feel a color in, you don't need to be able to see the color. You don't need to be able to be visual, clairvoyant in order to work with color. You blend with the color vibration. You dance with the color. As you said, you taste the color, you move with the color. You don't think about it. You just kind of feel your way around it and you hold it in your heart. And you also might see when you're starting to get a color, like a banana or a some grass. You might see something else that you happen to know is that color if you're colorblind, even though you can't see it. Or if you're not visual, you may get a memory in that reminds you of a color. So there's all different ways to work with it. Don't worry if you can't see it. And it's funny because I was texting with a friend of mine who had been wanted to be on the class. She's like, well, it doesn't matter because I'm colorblind. It doesn't matter that I missed the class yesterday. And my ex-husband was colorblind. He was also an amazing artist and he worked with all bright primary colors. And I used to watch him work, and one day I'm watching him do like the palm fronds and all of these beautiful different shades of green. And I'm just saying, how is it you do this? And he said, I can just feel it. I can just feel if it's red. I feel if it's green. I feel if it's yellow. And if I make a mistake, it's okay because it was supposed to be that way. And I thought that was very, very interesting about color because it is a vibration. So how I'm going to work today is I'm going to take you through a meditation so that you can learn how to access color, how to make a connection with the vibration of color, how to bring it into your whole body, heart, solar plexus, feel it, make a story with it. And it's not just like something painted on a wall or a picture or a crayon in a box. It's actually a living, breathing, textual entity that's going to give you so much information. So let's start with, shall we start with the meditation?
That's great. Yeah.
Okay. Let's have everybody close their eyes. That's always a great way to start a meditation. And why don't you go ahead and take a couple of long, slow, deep breaths. And just sit comfortably in your chair. And go ahead and make sure that your feet are placed flat on the floor. And just feel the bright green, beautiful energy of Mother Earth enveloping your feet and holding you tight to the surface of our earth. As you continue breathing, take your mind, your busy, chattery mind, and just slowly watch it creep down and down and down and down and fall silently into the space of your heart. And while you're breathing and just feeling your heart expanding with love, visualize a beautiful, soft, summery blue sky. And as you're visualizing this beautiful blue sky, start to feel a warm orange sun shining down upon you, giving you its life energy, its warmth, its radiance. And as you're sitting with this beautiful blue sky and this warm orange sun, start to perceive white fluffy clouds. They're floating by you. And suddenly you begin to notice these beautiful bright blue birds gliding gently through the sky. Dance with these birds and feel in your soul all the shades of blue in their glistening feathers. Watch these blue birds as they softly land on a tree branch. Feel the weight as the branch drops slightly. And visualize the brilliant and varied shades of green leaves. Perceive these leaves, smell these leaves, dance with the leaves. Some may be a deep shade of green, some may even be a bright spring green. And continue to move your attention down the tree. As you're moving down the tree, notice the brown of the bark. Feel its grounding texture. Smell the earthiness of it. As you get down to the bottom of the tree, you begin to perceive on either side of you, blooming next to the tree, a rose garden. This rose garden is filled with beautiful roses. And as you move through it with your perception, you notice all the red roses are the largest. Deep, luscious, velvety red roses, bright crimson ones. Look at the light, bright pink ones. What do they make you feel? Do you have any words, memories that are associated with that? Move your eyes to the cheerful yellow roses. What can you smell? Any other words that come up with the yellow ones? Begin to notice that there are roses of every color of the rainbow. Feel them swirling around you, becoming one with them. Bring them into your heart space and your energy. Now take a deep breath and allow all the colors to swirl together around you. Connect with the guiding influence of these colors. What spirits are surrounding in them? Who might be visiting? Any guides? Any loved ones in spirit? Any ancestors? And ever so slowly, watch them fade out of your mind's eye and continue taking a few more deep breaths. As you start to just see a very cool mist in the air, completely devoid of color. Start to feel yourself coming back into the room. Feel your feet upon the floor, still being hugged by Mother Earth. Take another long, deep breath as you notice your body sitting in the chair. And start to become aware of the room. Whenever you're ready, allow your eyes to flutter open. We're all back.
No, it's beautiful.
Good. So this meditation for me, it just allows you to see that even if you can't see color or you're not clairvoyant, you can start to relate to color in other ways. Through the emotions, through words, through your soul, through the feeling, through the vibration of color, through the essence of color. And you kind of feel it. You don't think it, you just feel your way around it. Tiffany, would you like me to go through some of the colors in the color meetings?
I do, and I wasn't planning on bringing this up, but since it came up in the little meditation there,
Yeah.
I remember a time when somebody I loved very much was going through a big depression, and this person lost the ability to see color while they were in this depression. They saw it in grayscale only. And so that, your life experiences are how spirit will speak to you and through you. And so if I was seeing some grayscale in my work, right, I might realize that this person is going through a time of depression, a low time. And so that wasn't really part of our curriculum, but I had the memory while we were doing the meditation. So I wanted to
Yeah,
share it.
you're absolutely right. This can give you information, not just of emotion, of a feeling, but it can give you information about somebody's career, depression. Are they in love? How's their relationship with their mother? Where are they going spiritually? Are they good in trance? Are they good in mediumship? Have you had a difficult time as a childhood? Are you a good communicator? And it's so interesting because I feel like if I were to go to a really dark spot, that would be one of the worst things that could happen to me, is suddenly to lose that magic of the color world of color.
But
And it is
it was a real experience.
yes.
Like, uh, you know, um, I would agree, and accessing color, like you said, as you go through the colors and are teaching us these different shades, you guys will start to see the different kinds of information that you can get. And what would be helpful is when you set your intention, right, for what kind of reading you're doing. So, Maggie's going to teach us about the reading part a little bit later. But if you're wondering, well, is red, does that have to do with career or love or what kind, how am I going to interpret this color, right? Well, you have set your intention for the reading, right? And so we'll get to that point a little bit later, but I think this is kind of the nuts and bolts that everybody gets really curious about is are these meanings and how you have worked with them in your practice.
Right.
So yeah, let's do it.
And it is, color is all emotion. How do we feel on a sunny day? You wake up and the sun's out and you're just ready to take on the day and get everything done. I mean, some people love the rain, but for me, it's gray, it's cloudy. It's like, I sometimes just want to put those covers back over my head and I don't want to get anything done. So it really kind of affects our emotions, as well as, a red dining room. They use red because it's stimulating. And it also affects your appetite. It makes you hungrier. Look at hospitals with the light blue and the pale green rooms because it's calming. It's the colors of the emotion. I mean, the ocean, the nature. So those are all very calming. And even that like peach, when you add a little bit of white to that red or to an orange color, it softens it up and it makes it, there's a sense of innocence to that creativity because orange is a very creative color. So even adding white to it or red, or black, darkening or changing the shade will change your emotion. So there's so much information that spirit can use once we set our intention to give us through a singular color. You can do a whole reading with a color or two. And I will talk about readings, but just to let you know, before we get into the colors, I do readings where I connect specifically into different levels of the auric field for different information. You can also use it as a timeline. Like the first color I see is right now. If I were connecting into the physical aura, which is the closest to us, which changes constantly, it has a slower vibration to it than our higher levels of auras. So if I was connecting the physical, which changes with our emotions and day to day and how we're feeling and what we're doing and what's going on in our life and the things that are affecting us, I would look at my first color as what's going on right now. The second color is what is going on in 6 months. And the third color is what is going on for a year. And how you do this all, as we've said a million times, is just setting attention to, because spirit's infinitely intelligent and will work with you using the least amount of energy as possible. So just so you have a little bit of background on how we might use this later.
Perfect.
So let's see. Let's talk about red.
Yeah.
Red is a great color. I love red. Red is also associated with the root chakra, which is really, really grounding. Sometimes people associate it as a masculine color. It is somebody that is very determined. It's very passionate. It's also a color of action, perseverance, independence, deep, deep romantic love, not the soft, tinkly kind of love, but that deep romantic love that almost hurts because there's so much energy in a bright red color. It's also, willpower. There's a fiercity to it. And one of the things so there are universal meanings to these colors, but we're also going to talk a little bit about how you make your own color vocabulary. Because as you start to work with color, you're going to notice the same things come up and there's a specific meaning. And when I work, one of my meanings for red is that somebody is either in love or in a relationship of, work or home has, how do I put it? There's a deep longing in the soul that hasn't been realized, but is not left forgotten, not yet forgotten. People just don't drop it. They keep pushing forward and pushing forward, even when it's time for it to possibly not be in your life any longer. I noticed that with the reds. There's a pure of hearts of red people too, and there's a passion. And red is really, really good for presidents, CEOs, actors, these type of jobs. Also, I personally see it in emergency personnel, and it's because it's the action right away, start to get things done, and they're taking charge. I had another interesting one. I can't think of it. The red business, they're all very, very, but it's not computers. Like I don't ever see red in somebody that works in computers, even though it might be an energetic thing. For me, it's just more cerebral because there's always a passion and an action involved with the red.
Love it.
Orange is connected to our solar plexus. And I'm sorry, orange is connected to our sacral chakra. And orange really is the color of the healer. It's the color of the natural healer. It is the color of the energy healer and the people that can heal with their mind, with their bodies. spiritually, and even it's just the mothers that are really good at caretaking of their babies when they're sick. There's the natural healer. They're also incredibly creative. The artist, the poet, the person that is writing and playwriting, but out of the box thinking. They're incredibly strong, they're quick-witted, and orange is another one of those colors that people walk in the room and they light it up. They light up a room. They talk a lot. I have a lot of orange in me. They have a playful personality. Sometimes you can't get them to stop talking. And, on the opposite side, sometimes with oranges, there can be a little pride or a little ego attached to it, but that's just on a, if I don't really like to talk about the negative of things. I like to work on the positive. But if somebody had too much orange or they wasn't blended with anything else, you might find something like that as a character defect.
Mhm.
Yellow is the color of the solar plexus. And so that resonates with the virtues are your mental abilities, wisdom,
Mm.
knowledge, higher learning, communication, like you, authors, lecturers, spiritual leaders with their words, written words, spiritual teachers, motivators. There's a truth that people with yellow like to get to. Their therapists, counselors, and they're also really good in the trance state, but especially good as motivational spiritual teachers and leaders and through the written word. Like you, Tiffany, you have a lot of yellow. You like lead with the yellow, and there's also this sunny light, this sunny yellow disposition that is a little calmer than the orange and a little more. There's just a softness and a light. Everybody wants to be around somebody that's yellow. They're never off-putting either.
I have to pause you for a story.
Well,
Is that
that's
okay? So I have a pre-birth memory of being in a soul group that was all yellow. That was, I mean, yellow like doesn't do it justice. Like glistening, glimmering, sparkling, effervescent, holy. And my memory is that God, as I believe him to be, was talking to my soul group, and there was the energy, the request of I need people to go down there and love people. Who wants to go? And I'm like, that's it? Like all you got to do is love people? Like me,
no
like
kidding.
pick me. And so it was just immediate down the tube to earth, however that works, I don't know. But the pre-birth memory I've had for a long, long time. And I also have dream memories from being like infant stage. And there's like writing in golden, sparkly yellow cursive that I know the words, and it's part of the language of the stars. And so I bring this story up because, just saying yellow, like I think there's a lot of people out there that like colors or don't like other colors or have preferences for colors. If you'll just open your heart and look beyond these preferences of the material plane, there's spiritual information there that is rich for you. And that was my experience with kind of warming up to my yellow.
And it's not like somebody you're a yellow person. You
Yeah.
have a lot of yellow in your spiritual level of your
Yes.
aura because that doesn't change. We come down with so much of that information in the spiritual level of the aura, and you have that in you. And it's like being enveloped and dipped in a bucket of liquid sunshine.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a piece of orange clothing or a yellow crayon. It's just so much different. It's seeing, smelling, tasting, hearing the whole color.
Yes,
Love that
yes.
story. I think I was there with you. I think
I love it.
with you. I just wanted to come home and be loved too.
I love it.
It's great. Um, green. Green is a color that so many people don't get excited about, but I really see green in those people that are starting new projects, but not brand new projects. I see green in people that have already set the foundation. They're moving forward to change, and change is already happening for them. There is a generosity to people that are green. There is a balance to people that have a lot of green. And when I say in their aura, it's not like your aura changes when you're doing an auric reading and these colors are coming up in somebody's energy field. You're reading it as what is coming up right now for this reading. It is not your color forever. unless it's in your spiritual level of your aura. And then there's some colors, and that can also change. Some you're born with, some change. Um, Green is also, they're very versatile and they can be very methodical. When I also see green, there's usually there's an elemental. People really relate to Mother Nature and elemental spirits and possibly fairy spirits, but that's not consistent. It's, you just kind of need to feel into that, because it could be somebody that's more grounded and it really is into, holistic, or horticulture or gardening, and then another person that has a green that you can feel a little bit of fairy energy to it. So that's where feeling into it comes. I also want to talk a little bit about the spring green. And that color comes for me specifically in my vocabulary. It's somebody that has a brand new project on the horizon, just like the spring buds, like it's just starting to come to fruition. You have an idea. You might not even done much with it yet, but that idea is there, that spark of growth for something brand new. And
Okay, I
when
have
it
a
shows, yeah,
question for you.
yes.
So green heart chakra. We think about healing as green, but we were talking about healers as this orange color, which I always see Jesus when I'm seeing the orange color. That's like the ultimate healer, right? Like in my perspective. And so this idea that when healers are using green, is it because that love heals all? Is there something to it that you've noticed?
Yeah. So green also, they have a love for all sentient beings.
Mhm,
Everything that has a bit of energy, all sentient beings.
mhm.
It's interesting that you see Jesus with orange,
Yeah,
because there's a power and a strength in the healing. And with green, it's associated with your heart chakra. So it is love, and it is love for all sentient beings, and they are healers. But the energy, the stronger color for me when I'm doing readings and for some other spiritual workers is orange. But
mhm.
green, we use love for everything, and love can be associated with the red, with the deep passionate, the green, which is the healing and the love for all sentient beings and the balance and nature and light, or the orange, which is full of passion and energy healing. So it kind of depends. In the pink, the mother's love, the love of an infant, the softer, the friendship love.
Yeah.
So everything can be,
You can
everything
dip
has
your
love into it. Yes.
Yeah, you can dip your paintbrush in any color and get a
Yes.
healing.
Yeah,
Right.
yes.
Awesome. Okay,
But
thank you.
like somebody that works as a healer
Mhm.
or is in the process of training in energy healing or has a calling to energy healing, when I'm connecting into the spiritual level of the aura, I will see that orange.
Amazing.
And somebody that is just healing those around him and wants the world to heal and has a love for nature and all sentient being and his balance, and just love in general, I'll see that more as green. I
Okay.
hope, I hope that helps.
Yeah.
And you'll find out, because so much of this is personal. When you start working with color, you're going to start to get really excited, because the same things will come up over and over. And then when the first time I see something new, so I was doing a blindfold reading on Colin Bates, and we were working with color, and Colin has really taught me to open my eyes to color. Color came naturally for me because of my background, but I learned so much from him, and he is an Arthur Finley mentor and a teacher over there. And so we were doing this blindfold reading, and I had to do a spiritual level auric color reading on him, but I didn't know it was him. And all of a sudden, in my mind's eye, I am filled with the most gorgeous indigo night sky I have ever seen. And it was like somebody had put me into the middle of space. Not like I was seeing it as a drawn like illustration, but I was in the middle of space seeing this. And there was a power and there was a force and there was a spiritual nature that came from this that I felt just beautiful. And I just knew, I'm like, oh my God, this is a powerful spiritual teacher and mentor that came down to this earth to do this.
Wow.
This person chose this, is living his life's path, but this is a very, very powerful spiritual teacher of the highest level.
Mhm.
So, and then when I took off my blindfold, I was like, who in the class? Who in the class has this color? I just knew this. And it was Colin. I was like, oh. this makes perfect sense. And it gave me some validation. So when I see it from time to time now, I will see it again.
Mhm.
And I know this person needs to be working through their path of spirituality and has a very, very much to give to our world.
Love it.
So that's how you do your own little spiritual vocabulary with the colors.
Amazing.
Okay. Tiffany, where was I? I
So
was
you're
at
on
green.
blue. Let's do blue.
Okay. Blue. I have some little notes here so I don't forget. I get really excited and can kind of go off on a tangent. Blue is the color of mediumship. I always see this color in the medium. It's also the color of divine love,
Mhm.
devotion. There's also a balance in it. There is a there is an empathy. Empaths are blue, but there is a deep empathy for humanity. Like you can almost feel humanity's pain. People that have a lot of blue in them. And I'm talking about like this royal color blue, this true blue.
Mhm.
Blue also, they're also very good communicators, and they're analytical. But there's this particular color of blue, and I call it, and I have her right here. I love Mary, and it's
Mhm.
the color of Mary's robes.
Mhm.
And so when I see that color blue into somebody's auras, I know they have a connection with Mary and they have a connection with the Divine Mother. And it's so interesting. And I also know that they are a healer, but like healing of humanity in the state of like Mary, very, very sentient, very, very not sentimental, compassionate towards the world.
Mhm.
So, but I often find, really 9 times out of 10, or most of the time, they also have a connection to Mother Mary,
I love
Catholic
that.
or not.
After I learned that from you, I also noticed that my all of my books on Mary are that color, that robe blue.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was like interesting that people intuitively, or maybe it's a known thing that was new to me, but all of my books on Mary, the visions of Mary, the visions of the children of Mary and Lourdes, all of those books that I love to share with you guys, those are all that blue, blue,
They're
blue.
blue.
So,
Yeah.
mhm.
And it happened like the first time it just dropped in. I'm seeing this blue and I recognize it as, for whatever reason, is the color of Mary's robes. And I just
Love that.
knew this person had a connection to Mary. So, I had a little conversation about it.
Yeah.
And then I feel like Spirit, that was just a symbol that Spirit chose to work with me to use this blue. And then some people that I work with, maybe they had a connection when they were younger, but they
Mhm.
hadn't used Mary any longer. It's like you can talk to her, she's waiting for you, she's here. And as a advanced spirit.
Mhm. Yeah.
So that's how you do it. You just get something, you feel it, you ask, you go out on a limb, and then you find it to be true over and over. And you make your own vocabulary. Um, uh, Inspiration,
Indigo. Oh.
visionaries. So indigo.
So,
So indigo obviously pertains to the third eye,
mhm.
and it is the color of it can be the color of the highest spiritual teacher, the highest spiritual leader. It is also the color of seers and the mystics and the seekers. I find indigo in people that have an interest in the occult or the mysteries of life, deep trance state where they can really get very quiet with themselves. They have a way, people with that indigo, of recharging when they're alone, and they need that time when they're alone to recharge. They can be a really outgoing person, but that time spent alone is their time when they kind of rejuvenate their mind, body, and spirit.
Totally.
Um, there is a selflessness to people with this indigo, and you don't see it quite as often. And then when it's mixed with that night sky, when it's mixed with the white of the stars and the sparkle and the purity and the holiness, then it's really something very spectacular to
Yeah.
see, to feel, to experience.
Yeah.
I just get so excited about color.
Well, it's funny, when you said the white too, when I'm doing readings, I visualize white liquid light raining down around and through my person and myself. And the white liquid light has that violet flame effervescent tone to it. And I didn't pick it, like I saw it. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yes, yes,
So
yes.
It's stunning to start to learn the similarities that you'll have with your friends and your colleagues and the other readers like that. It's neat to hear you talk about that.
And that's so interesting. When I had this visit from somebody that was very close in my life that had passed last year, he came through and just in the most beautiful white light, like smoke with the purple at the edges. And he was just, his hair was like liquid silk, blonde, yellow, flowing light. It was just like something out of a movie, honest.
Yeah.
And he had that spiritual look of that white with the purple at the edge and a little tinge of red too. It was really, really beautiful. The colors that are, I can imagine someday that we're going to get to see when we're in spirit.
I know the colors that we can't even perceive now, and the
Mhm.
sounds. Like, I don't know if are you ever falling asleep and you hear the sounds that, like this, I don't know, this angelic choir sounds that are not earthly, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And they come from this great distance that's hard to, um, like so far off in a distance, like it's all encompassing, like it doesn't sound
Mhm.
like a speaker, like there was a stop and a start.
Right.
It,
Yeah.
there, yeah, it's interesting. I had that experience when I had this kind of out of body experience with this friend of mine who was a close person to me in my life that had came and sat down on the edge of the bed and visited and took me up to, whether you believe it or not, up to where he is in spirit with me, with him.
Wow.
And that was great. Yes. So for another story for another day.
Another story for another
Yes.
Magna class. Okay, let's
Yes.
do purple.
Purple crown chakra.
Mhm.
Purple are people that are very, very sensitive. It's a spiritual regeneration. So I find purple in people that are studying spirituality. They
Mm.
have usually, when they were born, they had a connection to it. They had a knowingness about it, sometimes due to their childhood, life, living life. Maybe people, life happens. They kind of stopped and they always come back. So if you have purple in your spiritual level, in the spiritual level of your aura, you will always come back to your spirituality. But you usually have a remembrance of what spirituality is to you that wasn't taught or learned.
That's cool.
Um, yeah, it is. Trait, trust, loyalty, again, the seekers and the seers. It is also associated with psychic work, people
Mhm.
that are really good psychics that have, I also see it interestingly enough, people that have prophetic dreams have a
Oh,
lot of purple in them, which is
yeah.
interesting. What else for
Makes
purple?
sense.
Visionaries, artists, people that are free thinkers. They come up with amazing, like Tesla. He was had a lot of purple in it, a visionary, a free thinker, and came up with these ideas before other people do. And because they have so much faith in spiritual knowledge, they just believe without needing to have, without any validation as to why. They also believe in their ideas and their gifts on the physical world. People with a lot of purple.
I love it.
Yes. So just really quick, I want to talk about silver.
Okay.
Silver is a really interesting color to me. It is a color of spiritual download. You find this in somebody like the purple that is on the spiritual path. They were absolutely put here to do this. They were a little further along in their path than maybe the purple, but what it means is you are getting spiritual downloads. I always see it, you might see it in a different way. I see it as liquid silver pouring from the heavens straight through the crown chakra.
Mhm.
And I know these people are on their paths and they are moving very, very quickly to learn and become enlightened and become whatever it is they want to get out of their connection with the divine, that it's happening for them and it's happening quickly.
Perfect. Yes. Silver. If you're doing silver, you have to do gold. Just get in there.
Mhm. Okay, people that have gold. Gold is the color of royalty. Gold is the color of luxury. People that have gold in them are really have been anointed. They have come down with a very, very specific purpose, and their soul has chosen it. Your soul has chosen it, and you've earned it. You're not given gold, you've earned gold. So I only see it on people that, and not necessarily, don't have to be a teacher like with Colin that I see the highest level of teacher, but it can be somebody like Mother Teresa would definitely, you would see like gold. people that do animal savings that have really reached this highest level of love and preservation for humanity have this gold in them. It's definitely been earned
I love this.
for me, for
Mhm.
me.
Okay, one, we could talk about pinks and browns. We could talk about turquoises and shades of things. We could talk about sage. We could talk about lavender. You know, that we could really study your colors in great, great depth. But this should just give you a certain basic foundation for what they could mean and how you could lean in to receiving that. I think Maggie gives beautiful demonstrations, and something that I love about your demonstrations is when you set the intention. You've mentioned it a couple of times. You're either working with the physical, like the colors that are present for somebody right now, or you're setting the intention to work at the spiritual level and the further out in the auric field. So when you're practicing with your color readings, you're either going to set the intention to read for somebody present, past, future, or you're going to set the intention to read for them at a soul level. And these soul colors are what Maggie has taught me, really don't change. But like she said, the day-to-day things of life change. If you read me 3 hours ago, you might have seen some reds. If you read me yesterday, you might have seen some blues. Like, those are the pieces that will change and give you different aspects of what somebody's going through in their timeline of life. Um, Color, before you get into the reading aspect, also, something that we have learned and discussed together is that when it's really, really vibrant, that's like full force, full level of information. When it's pale, right? When it's lighter, that, like, I don't mean like white is on it. I don't mean like we have orange and we made a sorbet. That's not what I mean. I mean, it's orange, and then there's like it's a transparency. There's less of it, and so that can indicate an illness, a symptom of ill health in one region of the body. And so, because you're learning about color and psychic development, you also need to be filling your cup, and you need to be regenerating and have proper spiritual and energy hygiene. And Maggie went through the colors; they correspond with the chakras, right? And so one of the easiest things you can do as a reader, seer, healer, understanding the language of color, is to vibrantly visualize the rainbow from your chakras. From root, you just visualize red, and then you go up to your sacral, you visualize orange, you go up to your solar plexus, visualize the most beautiful yellow, the most beautiful sunshine. Go into your heart, visualize the most beautiful leafy green, the most beautiful, cerulean blue, the most beautiful indigo, the most beautiful purple lotus, and just do this wash over yourself of color. And that is an energy reset. And this is how you can also use color to help heal people, to send healing energy to people. Before I even knew any of this about color, when I was a young girl in my early 20s, I would be running on the trail or walking on the trail, the hike and bike trail. And instead of, I wasn't tapping into anybody, but people would run by, and instead of like zhuzhing out a prayer, I would just visualize pink, gold, sparkly lights over them. And it was like a visual prayer instead of saying something. I do the same thing when I pass roadkill. I'm a Texas girl. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I saw this. We had a lot of roadkill in New York last year.
And I'm just like, I
But
put a hand up like this, and I just like spider web out this pink, beautiful golden light and bless that creature, that being, their precious life. And you can use color in your prayer life as well, in your meditations. So I just wanted to throw some ideas around with you, um, and then, get your take and hear more about how you do the readings.
yeah, and you know what? We can do another class and we can do it on color healing, because using color for healing specifically is a little bit different. And some of the training that I've done, I mean, there's all different kinds of training, but one of the styles of training I like is really specific colors for specific areas. And you
Mhm.
can also infuse water with different colors for drinking. You can infuse different things that you set on your body for doing it. You can just visualize different colors coming into different parts and spots on your body for specifically for healing. All the stuff that you were talking about. You can do so many things with color.
Mm, I love it. Just
Yeah.
so easy. Just if you can, use your imagination, right? I was really fortunate. I had an aunt when I was young, and she who told me, write down the colors that you're feeling before you fall asleep. And
Really? You're
yeah,
so
and so
lucky.
I know, because I have this crazy journal, like this little kid journal that's like, I see purple twinkly lights. And then I would recall
Oh,
my
Tiffany, you're
dreams.
so cute. I'm sure little Tiffany, I can only imagine.
Thank you. But to look at the journal, it's hilarious, and also
Yeah.
such a great form of psychic development, because when you're remembering the color in your dreams, it's a form of remembering a non-local reality, which is the muscle that we need to develop spiritually and to develop psychically. So you are recalling a non-local reality when you are seeing, when you are feeling, when you are smelling, when you're experiencing. It's not here, it's there.
Yeah,
So, to access that, the way to build that muscle is to remember your dreams. And
absolutely.
to get the different shades is also something I want to say is really important. So if some people are a little bit more advanced with practicing with color, I have this really old story. So if you've been my friend for some time, you've heard this story many times. But one of my favorite cases was I was working a cold case with a cop, a mom, and a author. And we sensed that there was some foul play among the mm, legal system. How do I say that? That's not what I want to say at all, but that's what I'm saying. So I guess that's what needed to be said. So, and I knew that the color associated was blue. And she said, actually, there's two legal systems involved. One is local, one is federal. Can you give me the color? What shade of blue? Immediately, I saw baby blue and navy blue.
Yeah,
And I went with, one. And she said that is also the one that we feel has botched the case. And my point in saying that is that it's not just blue, like when you're recalling those colors from your dreams, like just go for it. Say turquoise, like right out, like, and what was the feeling behind the turquoise? And you can develop your color symbol vocabulary that way too, through playing with your dreams.
absolutely. You can hold on to ribbons, different colored
Yeah,
ribbons, and you
yeah.
just meditate on it. And you meditate, hold them and meditate and then write down everything you got. And even the crazy stuff, that stuff is really, really fun. You can also write down a whole bunch of words and then look at the word and what color comes to mind and write the word down next to it and play with that. You kind of do that the backwards way. And then, about color, if you don't see it, just breathe it. Just breathing in the word and you will still get the essence, the vibration of the color. Don't worry if you can't see it either because you're colorblind or you find clairvoyance difficult. And I think there is something, actually, there is a name for it. I know there are some students that actually are
Yeah.
not clairvoyant and there is a name for it, but you just touch it, feel it, taste it, smell it, dream it, breathe it, pull it into your heart.
It's
Yeah,
a
and I was like that as a little kid. Remember I'd go into the stores and I would need to have certain colors of blankets. I need to be wrapped in a certain color. And even as little, because I couldn't get my walls changed like I could by the time I was 8 or 9, I learned how to paint by myself. But color is just and lighting is just so important to me that I have that around. Now I know how to take care of myself, but it was a way that I could self-soothe. And also wearing different colors, some days you're in a red mood and some days you're just not. And you can even start your day out in red and you come home and you need a soft, soft pink to curl up on the sofa with and feel loved.
Mhm. Yeah. I'm just thinking about all those clothing. Like I just couldn't stand socks that had seams on them.
Oh
I was
no,
like turning them inside out, taking socks and shoes off, like
you're one of those. My daughter was like one pair of socks where the seam was correct. I'd have to wash them out at night or deal with it in the morning. Of course, you couldn't find any more of that one pair of socks.
Well, this has been awesome. Is there anything else you want to share about kind of strategically doing a color reading or any?
Yes, so I would like to give you some steps.
Okay, okay. Amazing.
Okay. So I'm going to talk about the soul reading first.
Okay.
So, but before I do A soul reading is the term I use when we connect into the sixth level of the aura, which is a spiritual level, to talk about your spiritual gifts, what may have started them, what may have stopped them, what you have to look forward to, things that may happen in your childhood. This is also the part where I find more often that guides or spirit may come through at that time. Your loved ones may come through, spirit guides, elders, different messages may come through in different ways through the color. Or if I'm connecting into the physical level to do a past, present, future, what's going on with you live, what are some general readings? And sometimes if I'm trying to do like just a mediumship, I mean a psychic or a mediumship connection, and I'm just not getting something, I just move in through the color, and that's a good jumping off point for any reading. Don't worry about what level of the aura you're in. Just ask for information, to use the color for information to work with this client for their highest and best good. So I always take a moment to connect into my own soul because I want to know that I'm feeling grounded and safe, and that I'm getting actually accurate information into my soul and not into my mind. So I take a couple of deep breaths, and then I expand. I ask for permission. I expand my energy. I also ask the client to expand their energy. I ask them to feel their soul getting lighter and brighter and more lovely and full of love and effervescent and bubbly and cheerful. And I ask them to share that with me. And then I blend with that and dance with that until I start to see a color. You might see one color at a time. You might see three colors at a time. If you see multiple colors, make a choice. I'm called to work with this one. I sometimes see, interesting enough, pink, turquoise, and purple in a pastel state with somebody. And I sometimes see the pink, purple, turquoise with the silver coming in. And it's like all at once. And then I just, depending on the reading, I work with whichever one I feel I want to talk about first.
Mhm.
Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Please tell me if I get off track here. Um, so, and I set the intention, I'm going to work with the spiritual level of the aura. And then I just talk about one, two, or three colors, depending on how much information I'm getting. And we
Mhm.
go from there. The
The
other
soul
thing you
reading.
want the soul, yeah, when I'm
Yeah.
working in the soul connection.
Perfect.
And be aware that especially spirit guides will come through the color. I remember reading somebody, and I was reading turquoise, and I'm just blending, and I'm not thinking I'm talking about the turquoise. We're going through the childhood. And next thing you know, this unbelievably blue, beautiful spirit guide just like grew out of this blue color. And he was so magnificent. He had all of these other rainbow colored like feathers. He wasn't Native American, but he was just this long trailing headdress on, and it was just beautiful. And he literally like just sprung out of the color. And it was interesting because I saw it when I was talking about the childhood, and she had been aware of him when she was a child and had forgot about him. So it was kind of a reminder.
Wow.
So be willing to experience anything through the color.
Mhm.
One, two, or three colors, it doesn't matter, depending on how much time you have. And then when you connect in through connect in the same thing. I connect if I'm doing a personal reading, a physical reading on somebody's physical level of the aura that has a slower vibration. The colors change all the time. It can change minute to minute. I
Mhm.
connect it to that level of the aura, and I will often do a past, present, future. And again, first color is current, second color is about 6 months, and then next one is a year and beyond.
Amazing.
Seek direction from the sitter, talk about it, be positive, be uplifting. And I wish you so much luck in your color readings. Let Tiffany know how they go. I'm happy to answer questions. She's done enough. I mean, she can answer questions too, obviously. And can I talk about anything else that you want to know?
And no, this is so great. I know it's going to help so many people. MaggieWinokur.com. It's MaggieWinokur.com. And Maggie holds retreats at her home in
Yes,
Malibu. She offers one-on-one sessions.
yes.
She teaches with me in my different programming, and we work collaboratively in different settings. So if you like the mojo, we can also come do a retreat with you. And we just, hope that, we set the intention before starting this class that it would really help people, help somebody with their spiritual development, with their spiritual gifts. And so use this information for your advantage, for your connection with your higher power, your version of God as you understand him. And, we love you and we're sending you all the rainbows of all the colors of the rainbow. So,
Yes.
yeah.
And keep healing light. Tiffany, thank you so much for having me. I so appreciate being here, and I'm just so excited to talk about one of my favorite subjects with you. Love to work with you in anything, and you guys are so lucky to have Tiffany every week. You really are. I miss you, honey, and thank you so much for having me come
Okay.
talk about color today.
You're the best. All right. Love you.
Love you. Bye.